Hi, thank you, Mr. Howarth, it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and I thank the Right Honourable Member for Kingston-Surbiton for bringing this important debate. Pension funds are really important. They're personally important to me as well, but they're hugely important because they're major stakeholders in the UK and global investment markets, with 2.8 trillion in assets and more than 90 billion a year on behalf of 84% of UK workers. That's why leadership is so important in this sector. In fact, back in 2015, when I was a county council at Warwickshire, I wanted us to show leadership there at Warwickshire to go fossil-free. And it was in recognition of what the Rockefeller Foundation had recently done at that time, and several other major investors, which was to divest from the fossil fuel industry into the renewable sector. And I felt that if it was so recognised by the once all-important Rockefeller company and family, then that we should be looking to follow. Sadly, that motion was put to the vote and was lost. It failed, though, because of the rules of the local government pension scheme, the LGPS, which, of course, is set nationally but administered locally. And those responsibilities include managing the investment funds within a statutory framework. The Law Commission's report of 2014 on the fiduciary duties of investment concluded that where trustees think ethical or environmental, social or governance issues are financially material, they should take them into account. However, while the pursuit of a financial return should be the predominant concern of pension trustees, the law is sufficiently flexible to allow other subordinate concerns to be taken into account. And for me, that's the important thing. More recently, I checked the LGA legal advice, and they say the precise choice of investment may be influenced by wider social, ethical or environmental considerations, so long as that does not risk material financial detriment to the fund. Now, this is something which, of course, Mark Carney, the Bank of England governor, has recently written about. And he said that in meeting the Paris targets, it will require a massive reallocation of capital. If some companies and industries fail to adjust, then so be it. They will fail to exist. As he pointed out, fossil fuel investments carry major financial risks, since overvalued carbon assets may be left stranded. This stranding could cause a global wealth loss of $1 to $4 trillion, posing major risks to pension funds. Now, you don't have to look just in the UK or to look at to what was happening with the Rockefeller Foundation. You look at the Californian Public Employees Retirement Scheme and also the State Teachers Scheme, where they divested from many holdings of thermal coal back in 2015. Look at Norway's Sovereign Wealth Fund, which is dumping investments in firms that explore for oil and gas. And this strategy shift, on the back of advice from the country's central bank, will affect just 1.2% of its holdings and about 66 billion Norwegian kroner. So actually fairly significant. But their objective is to reduce the vulnerability of the common wealth of that country to a permanent oil price decline. Hence, he says, it is more accurate to sell companies which explore and produce oil and gas rather than selling a broadly diversified energy sector. And more recently, the Environment Agency decarbonised its £2.9 billion pension fund by increasing climate-positive investments, reducing its exposure by 90% to the coal industry and greatly reducing its exposure to oil and gas. More, perhaps parochially, Southwark Council has moved £450 million into passive funds that track low-carbon and fossil-free indices produced by MSCI. It has invested £30 million into the Glenmont's Clean Energy Fund 3, which invests in Western European wind and solar companies. For me, this shows great leadership, and they are to be commended. Sadly, however, the Parliamentary Contributions Pension Fund, according to the 2018 report, shows that the largest holding is in BP, and I will come to them just in a moment. There are no positive investments in those funds that are committed to bringing about a zero-carbon world, which I think is a real shame. And hence 244 serving and former MPs have signed the Divest Parliament pledge, calling on the trustees to phase out investments in fossil-free companies. This is something I have signed. As if to underline this move, I look to the Church of England's General Synod, its Parliament, that voted 347 to 4 in favour of removing its holdings in fossil fuel. And this sort of leadership is so widespread, and it's something we should follow. But in following the leadership of others, going for socially, environmentally and economically advantageous investments, let us ensure that we are Paris compliant. Almost 20 years ago, BP rebranded as Beyond Petroleum. Let us go beyond petroleum. Let us go beyond BP, and let us show leadership.
Hear, hear.